One guy, one book, one beer.
Hello and welcome to One Guy, One Book, One Beer. This is the video series where I start reading a book and start drinking a beer, and I see how far into the book I can get before I'm finished with my beer, and then I come back and review what I've read thus far. The idea being the more interesting and engaging the opening of the book is, probably the slower I'll drink my beer and the further I'll get into the book. Today, as I'm recording this, is the last day of summer, and so I wanted to pair two things that kind of make me think of summer. The guy is me. The book is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. And the beer is a Youngling Summer Wheat right here. So 3 summer related things. I'm not summer related. Why did I say 3 summer related things? Anyway, V.E. Schwab, Victoria Schwab, is one of those authors I've never read, but every time I've ever read a description of her books or heard a review, I'm always like, man, that sounds like something that I would like. I should read one of those someday. And the day has come, the beautiful day has arrived. It's today. So I'm going to go ahead and read this now. So I will take Vicious and see how far I get. Here we go. Okay, I've done it. So I made it to page 29 of Vicious. Here are my thoughts so far. I read the first 3 chapters, so spoilers on the first 3 chapters, I guess. Basically, the first chapter we have a guy named Victor who is in a cemetery with a young girl, 12-year-old girl, and they are going to be digging up a body. And we don't really know what's up with that. Then the second chapter is 10 years earlier in college. We've got Victor and his roommate Eli are kind of choosing what their senior thesis is going to be about, and Eli's decided his is going to be on extraordinaries, which is apparently is people with superpowers. He's trying to figure out if they could exist, I think. And then the third chapter is more digging at the graveyard. So here's my impression so far. So far, I really like the writing style. I think one of the most difficult things to do in a book, especially the beginning of a book, is to find that perfect balance between keeping you intrigued about the world and not giving you all the information at once, not dumping a bunch of information on you, but just like feeding it to you just the right amount. Because if you give too much, it's just like a big information dump. You might as well be reading an encyclopedia. But if they don't give you enough, you can be disoriented. So it's that balance of giving you enough that you're always getting a little bit more, just kind of leading you along the breadcrumb trail. And Victoria Schwab does an amazing job of that in this. I was really impressed with that. I also like her writing style is very descriptive, but the details that she uses are carefully picked. They're sparsely placed. I'm always impressed, because when people are having a conversation, there's writers will often try to throw in some kind of detail about, he looked at her, basically. But there's a million different little things to, if people are in a conversation and one looks at another, there's a million different little details you could point out about that particular situation. And I think, so far at least, that's a strength of V.E. Schwab, is that she's picking out very interesting details to point out, like the way someone puts their foot on a gravestone, or the way that their facial expression shifts in a very specific manner. Part of the series, why I like doing this series, not that it's like an old venerable series, is my 3rd video in this series, but part of the reason I like it is because this is the kind of stuff that I feel like when you're talking about a whole book review, it doesn't often get talked about because it's so specific, but when you're just looking at a few pages, you can really focus more in depth on that. And I just want to point out a couple of cool sentences. So this is 2 sentences that I really like from the very first chapter, when we're learning about Sydney, who is the young woman. Apparently Victor has recently escaped from prison, and Sydney has recently been shot, but we don't know too much about her yet. A few days shy of her 13th birthday, and even for 12 and 11/12ths, Sydney Clark was small. She had always been on the short side, but it certainly didn't help that she had barely grown an inch since the day she died. So I love that. I love the clever turn of phrase of the 12 and 11/12ths, and just the way that it's sharing that information from us that she has died, which we didn't know, and sharing it in a clever way. I love that. Another creepy line that made me feel like, ooh, there's going to be a nice creepy factor of this book, is this line which Sydney is very concerned. Apparently she has the power to raise the dead, we learned in the first chapter, and she's very concerned that instead of just raising this one person, she's going to raise the whole graveyard, raise everyone in the graveyard back to life. So Victor says, "Look at it this way," he teased, dumping a pile of dirt onto the grass. "If you wake them up, they can't go anywhere. Now dig." So that's great. Little tells us a little bit about Victor and what his personality is like, and also gives us a little preview of that this book is probably going to have a nice little bit of creepiness to it. So that is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I like it a lot, and I am definitely going to continue on with the book and finish it up, see where it goes from here. Thank you for watching. I have links to the other videos in the series down below. I will talk to you next time. Thanks for watching.